Hi guys! Hello! So excited to have you all here. Before we start, we just wanted to ask you guys, all the guests, to put yourselves on mute, just so you guys can hear everything super loud, super clear, for our panelists to share their amazing wisdom with you guys. So, without further ado, after our short little intro, we are going to introduce ourselves and then have our panelists do their short introduction as well. So, hello guys, my name is Sarah. You guys can call me Sarita.
And I'm Victoria.
We're the UF Pink Campus reps. I am a third-year advertising major and I'm originally from Miami.
And I'm actually from France, but I moved to Miami 4 years ago.
So we are going to start off with our intros with Anna. We're going to have Anna kick it away. Then we're going to go with Caroline, Monica, and then Bianca. So let's get started, Anna.
Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. My name is Anna. I'm also in state of Florida. I'm studying journalism with a concentration in marketing, but on the side, I do Rowdy Magazine. I'm the current editor-in-chief. We're the largest student-run fashion magazine in the United States, so that's really great. But I'm really excited to talk to you all today.
Love. Caroline, kick it off for us next, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Vazzana and I'm a fashion editor, stylist, and the author and founder of Making It in Manhattan, which is a super fun career advice platform. I started my career working at magazines like Teen Vogue and InStyle before going out on my own and building my own brand on social media. I work with a ton of different brands on campaigns and projects and collabs, so I do a little bit of everything, which is really fun.
We love that. Big TikTok fan of you, Caroline. Monica?
Hi guys, my name is Monica. I am the social media manager at Sephora. Previous to Sephora, I worked at Pink. I was also a Pink Campus Rep alumni at UCF, which is really exciting, another Florida girl, even though I was born and raised in New York. But so excited to be here, guys, and share all of the wisdom that I have.
Yeah. 100%. And finally, Bianca.
Hi guys, I'm Bianca. I am on the social media team at Glossier. It's a beauty company. Yeah, and I'm kind of probably similar to a lot of you guys because I just graduated college this past spring. So
we love that. Amazing. Can't wait to pick your brain on everything Glossier. So we're going to start off with some general questions, everyone, and then we're going to go one by one, asking our panelists more specific details. So without further ado, we're going to kick it off nice and simple. Vic, do you want to ask the first one?
Yeah, sure. So it's like pretty generic, but like what advice would you give to like your younger self?
Yeah, definitely. I am 21, so I honestly feel like I'm young myself. But in college, I like to speak for like a lot of people my age, like we change, it feels like every single month or every single year. So if I could give advice to just like, I guess my freshman self, I would say just take risks. College is all about experimenting and finding what you love. And I think a lot of people our age kind of get bogged down into like, oh, this is my major, I have to do this, or I have to be involved in this club or this activity, but you have 4 years to explore and find yourself. And I found myself kind of, experimenting and looking around clubs. So that's, I guess, my biggest piece of advice.
100%. I feel like aesthetics, you as a person is always changing. Like I can totally 100% think that most of us before quarantine were like a completely different person than we are now. It just goes to show how in such a short period of time we can like reinvent ourselves and grow. So yeah, love that.
For me, I'd probably say some advice I'd give my younger self is just not to care so much what other people think. I get questions from people a lot who are trying to start their brands and grow their social media accounts. And it's funny, I didn't even realize in the time, but you really get worried about what other people think. Like girls will ask me, oh, well, what if my hometown friends start thinking I'm weird because I'm posting on social media all the time? But at the end of the day, you have to just do what you love and what you're passionate about. And if you want to wear that bright sequin dress, like don't care what other people are going to think of you. Like the right people will come your way and you're going to be associated by like your tribe and people who are empowering and supportive. So try not to care what other people think so much because it's just going to hold you back from things like similar to what Anna was saying about diving in and getting involved. Like if you're so worried about what other people are thinking or judging of you, you might not join that fashion club, or you might not take that risk. So try not to listen to all the voices in your head, listen to your heart, and just follow, what you truly want to do.
I couldn't agree more with everything you said. Like it's so important to be yourself and like have fun. Who wants to go next?
We can go on to the next question, if anything.
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. I think college honestly was like the runway for my career. Like it really is where everything kind of got started. And I feel like if I were to tell something to myself, it would be just to continue to take advantage of every opportunity. I actually did a lot of like remote social media internships back when I was in college because I didn't have a car. So I couldn't just drive, to my internship every day. So I really went online and I was like, okay, well, what can I do? And I remember there was a point where I had like 4 internships at once, but it was all remote. And then it's kind of funny thinking about current climate right now, how we're kind of all at home and we're in a different time, but that doesn't really stop you from opportunities. Like online, like there's so much you can do. So I would just continue to tell myself that, take advantage of every opportunity you can. And I feel like that advice is still applicable today.
Totally. Oh my God, what a girl boss. 4 internships, and she managed to get the UCF Pink Instagram to 10,000 followers. So that's queen.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I guess my advice would just be not to, and I had to kind of learn it the hard way, is not to undervalue what you bring to a workplace or a team. I know like my first few months working for Glossier, I was like, I would sit in meetings, I'd be silent because I'm like, these people are professionals. They've been here for years. They know the company better than I do. I don't want to give my ideas, but you have to remember that they like picked you to be there for a reason. They see the value in you and they see what you bring to the table and they want to hear your ideas. Like that's literally why they asked you to come and join the team, whether as an intern or like as a new employee. Just don't be afraid to just kind of, say what you think, even if it's, maybe disagreeing with someone's ideas or maybe making a small change and just saying, I think we could do this, or I've seen people like this a lot, whether it's, socials or whatever team you work on. Yeah, I think it proves that you have something to offer and, you shouldn't be afraid to like speak up and just kind of say what you think.
Totally, 100%. Okay, so next question. The idea that fashion or beauty is often seen in society as something of lesser value traditionally, but the work that you girls do really is helping change that and challenge that stereotype. So why do you think that is important for you?
That's such a great question. I feel like, especially at least I want to say for Gen Z, we're breaking that notion every single day. And the idea that, like fashion and activism and politics and, elements of pop culture, all of that is intermixed to make, us who we are. Just because you're wearing a pair of heels doesn't mean you can't go and like out to a protest. So I think that it's, at least in my personal work with Rowdy, I really try to incorporate that into everything we do and everything we put out, and everything we create is very intentional with that purpose in mind. I am a huge fan of Leandra Medine, and she, on her website, repeller.com, she has something that basically says the idea that fashion and, that fashion doesn't minimize one's intellect, which is a mantra I try to live by every single day. So I guess, not really sure if that answers your question. I feel like I'm going on like a brain ramble because definitely, I try to just like live that every day through the articles we post, through the social media captions, just try to be as intersectional and essentially as much as we can try to make a positive impact, we do.
I love it. As a Rowdy team member myself, I can 100% speak to that, and I know how amazing the work you do is because of that. So love it.
Yeah, I would have to say, I think back when I was in college, like kind of similar to what your question says, is people did, when you said you were studying fashion and that was your major, people kind of, I don't want to say looked down on you, but definitely didn't take you seriously and were like, oh, so you just like try on dresses all day and that's it. But with that being said, honestly, I think with the progression of social media, it's been like the best thing for the fashion industry because we like all of a sudden fashion is so powerful. Like we make an impact, we dictate so much, and now like literally everyone wants to be an influencer. So it's just like funny because in college I was like, you know, the weird girl that ran around campus with like tutus and like faux fur coats that were hot pink, and now like I'm getting messages from like tons of people I knew from college being like, can you give me a job? So it doesn't matter, like I, you know, again, to what people think, like people are always going to have something to say. Oh, you're studying fashion. You know, everyone has like an opinion, something they're going to say, something they're, you know, a jab because maybe they're insecure about what they're doing, and it's fine. But I think, as I said, with social media, like the fashion industry is dictating literally everything, I feel like, in terms of like politics, activism, trends, like just literally everything. So we are such a powerful industry, and you know, all I can say is don't let other people make you feel inferior, or don't let other people make you think otherwise.
I love it. There's like nothing to add because I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
she did that.
I was like, oh, like the weird people taking pictures is like us on campus.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The mini me's. Monica?
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with Caroline and Anna. I feel like they said a lot that I'm just like, yeah, like totally agree. But I feel like beauty and fashion just like shape culture, kind of like building off of what Caroline said, you know, it kind of just dictates what we wear, how we do our hair, how we do our makeup, and that like makes us feel good, you know, and I feel like that's integral to, you know, just being a human, you know, whether it's like self-care or self-love or just doing something that makes you happy every day. And I feel like those industries help shape that. So definitely proud to work for, you know, companies within beauty and fashion, but also social media kind of plays into that too, like having that as a way that you can communicate to people. Like even sometimes I think like, wow, like I made a decision and 20 million people will see that tomorrow. Like that is so cool, you know? So working in social kind of helps amplify that, but going back to beauty and fashion, it shapes culture. So I think it's just so important. And I'm so excited to see it grow each and every day.
100%.
I think what's really cool is that nothing, especially with social media now, nothing is just singular. You know, I think personally, I think that beauty and fashion now are almost people's forms of activism. People are really looking into like what the companies represent and like what you're representing when you wear a company's clothes or a brand's makeup products. And I think it's another form of expression. And it's not just, oh, I like red lipstick, so I'm wearing red lipstick. It's, I like this company because I like what they stand for. You know, I like that they work with this organization, and it really is a form of expression, not just of what you like looks wise, but what you like and what you stand for. And I think it's really cool.
Well, bouncing off of what you just said, Bianca, about activism and really not just knowing and wearing a brand just cause, but the message behind it. The next question ties in perfectly with that. So Vic, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, so there's like a lot of like college students watching right now, like 20 something young people. Have you been able to like push for activist things in like your professional environment or like even in your personal life?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, I mean, just bouncing exactly what Bianca said, you know, everything that we put on our body, whether it's like a hair oil or a cardigan that you're wearing or a piece of jewelry, really does say so much about you. So the brands that we choose to kind of show off should, at least in my view, kind of really emphasize what we care about in our morals. And so I try to do, you know, things like shop sustainably and kind of look into the brands that I'm consuming and see what their ethical practices are, you know, if they're donating any money to charity and, you know, things like that. I think play small, you know, roles into who we are and molding, you know, what we care about. So at least that's how I do it in my like own personal life, aside from everything that I do with Rowdy.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just to jump off of that, like completely agree with everything you're saying. And then like from my aspect, you know, just being mindful of what brand you are supporting on social media and, you know, are they inclusive? Are they sustainable? I think it's so important not to just because, you know, all the cool girls are posting this brand, like you're just going to jump on the bandwagon and post it too. I think, you know, maybe when I was first starting out of my career and I was younger and didn't know as much, if that was like the cool girl brand, I wanted to be posting it too because I wanted people to think that like I was in on the up and up or whatever it might be. So I think now that I've, you know, establish myself more, I'm able to kind of pick and choose the brands that I want to support and use my platform to even highlight other voices or highlight, other creators who I think are doing an incredible job. So I think, we just all have a responsibility to be mindful. And then especially if you have a platform, supporting what you want to support and having a voice. And then also highlighting other voices, I think is so important, because sometimes maybe you don't have the right words, but they have the right words, and highlighting them. So yeah, being mindful of what you're putting on your body, being mindful of who you're supporting, what brands you're supporting, and the people you're supporting is really so important right now.
You're so right.
Yeah, kind of jumping off of that too. I feel like just being mindful for companies you apply to, as well. I feel like when I first started my career, I was kind of blinded by just all these big Fortune 500 company names. I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to work at this company, or it'd be so cool to work at this company, but I didn't really think of the brand values. I kind of just wanted the clout, I feel like. And then now that I've been at a company that has all these really great values, and I've been at other companies as well that have great values as well, it really just it's almost like an added bonus, there, because it's every day it's I can go to a meeting and I feel comfortable speaking about certain issues because the company also, is so receptive to that, and not all companies are receptive to change one, or even talking about difficult issues and using their platforms to talk about difficult issues. But then it's you kind of have to reevaluate, do I really want to be part of this company if they're not listening, if they're not changing, if they're not evolving? You want to be part of a company that can be also sustainable. I don't think, companies that just kind of stay the same status quo will make it 10 years from now. It's really the companies that are listening to Gen Z, speaking about issues and having their brand values intact, that I think are going to thrive. So that's kind of where you want to be, especially if you want to build your career and you're listen, I want to be a coordinator, then I want to be a specialist, then I want to be a manager, then I want to be a director, then I want to be CEO. It's kind of if you have that career trajectory in mind, you kind of have to think about a company that you think will be sustainable, that will actually last through all of that. And I really do feel it's the companies that listen to people and that actually have strong brand values that will actually make it 10 years from now.
We are even seeing that now, the brands that are making it, the brands that aren't. And it's so refreshing to see brands who are finally, or have always been, bringing around change, because it does take a lot of guts, because you're oh no, am I going to lose my past audience? But no, this is more important. And even then, how you said, standing up for your beliefs and being you know what, this isn't for me, I'm going off to start another journey with another company. So that's everything, Monica. Thank you.
Yeah, I think exactly what Monica said, that where you work is eventually becomes almost a representation of you and what you believe in, and you don't want to work somewhere that isn't supporting those similar beliefs. I mean, I feel really lucky to get to work somewhere that does have that kind of mindset, or similar one that I did. We just worked on our Black-owned beauty business grants, which were really amazing to see. We have so many applicants, and we all it was a big thing internally. We got to see the applicants and these businesses that these women were building, which were amazing. And then we are doing our voter initiative to get people to vote and register to vote. And I think it's just important with these companies now more than ever with social media to, kind of reflect that, we're not just storefronts anymore. We're this entire community and what we believe in and what you stand for. And I think, with people graduating now, it's important that yeah, companies are going to have fun things, going to have little happy hours, and they'll have perks and stuff, but it's really important at its core that you go to work somewhere every day, or remotely, I don't know, however the world's going to be, somewhere that you're proud to stand for and to stand behind every day.
Yes, we love those answers, ladies. So now we've done our general Q&A, we're going to go panelist by panelist and kind of pick at their brain, because they all have a different story to tell. So starting with Anna, a lot of girls here, I know personally, and I know on this panel, are dying to start their Etsy shop, start the influencer career, be TikTok famous, whatever it may be, their dream, their goal. They're so ready to start it. But what advice do you have for girls that want to start a project that may seem so impossible and so huge for them to even embark on? Because as Rowdy's editor-in-chief, you were there to see it, become born, basically. So having that experience, what would you say to those girls?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's two kind of main answers to that question that I think have helped me in the past 2 years kind of just see everything come together. The first one is to like just work hard and like hustle. You know, nothing happens overnight, and if you don't have the passion for a project or something you really care about, it's just almost going to fall apart, simply because like I always say that Rowdy isn't like a business or a magazine. It functions like a startup. I mean, I literally feel like I'm slacking people at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we have to get this out and we have to, you know, do this project and this is our deadline coming up. So I think that, you know, like working hard and kind of seeing that determination go through is so important, and just seeing something flourish and grow. And the second step I would just say is just to like really have a great support system. Some of my coworkers and colleagues have become my best friends, and we always like push each other and encourage each other to do better, whether that be like in our personal lives and the projects, and how that kind of culminates in Rowdy. So, you know, whether that's like, I guess if you want to be an influencer, like, and your friends hype you up, that is the most important thing, because the people who care about you really just want to see you succeed and love you and kind of want to support you in every single way. So having that foundation is so fundamental.
I can't, like the other questions, I'm like, there's nothing to add. It was absolutely perfect. So next question for Ana. Vic, you want to take it away?
So I am a political science major, but I'm a huge fashion lover. And how do you deal with, once you declare a major, everyone expects you, like for example, everyone expects me to go to law school, or like to do like some kind of like legal stuff. Like how do you not stay in the box, like, and just thrive in something that you like, even though like your school, your parents, your friend expect you to do something in particular?
Yeah, definitely. I 100% relate to that. As a journalism major at UF, it is definitely kind of hard sometimes, because people are always expecting you to like do reporting, or, you know, go to New York Times, or like go to CNN and go to these big outlets. And for me, I'm just like, I don't want to do that. You know, being outside of the box, there isn't the idea of the box and kind of sticking to what you know, sticking to the status quo. I think especially with Gen Z isn't really a thing anymore. And so it's so great and refreshing to see kind of people explore their own interests outside of their major, outside of your career. And I think that, you know, at least for me in Rowdy and our personal kind of business things, we are a fashion magazine, sure, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about all these other important things that we care about as a generation. So whether that's, you know, like breaking news, or kind of how to help out and during an international crisis, or what to bring to a protest, some of the most important and like viral posts that we've done that people have kind of come to us about have been posts talking about things that aren't necessarily fashion. We had a huge post go viral about how to talk to your loved ones about the Black Lives Matter movement, especially if you come from like, you know, communities of color. Like I'm a Latina woman, and so having those conversations is difficult. So, you know, like sticking to the box, we're not just a fashion magazine, you know. I live that out in my personal life and obviously through Rowdy. So I would say like, just like F the box, essentially. Like
Yeah, take some guts for sure.
F the box, ladies. If there's something that you take out of
Hashtag.
this Zoom meeting. So next we have Caroline. Guys, if you don't know, Caroline is literally the modern day Carrie Bradshaw.
She is.
I am obsessed. So following that, you know, we have a lot of girls here that their dream is like, you know, straight out of college, I'm going to New York City, no turning back. Sometimes I don't even have a plan. I'm just going to go to New York and figure it out. So with all these girls wanting to follow their Carrie Bradshaw dreams, just like you in NYC, how did you learn to embrace risk-taking in the fashion industry when it's usually seen as one that's stereotypically very intimidating and almost like mean to get into?
That's a great question, because there definitely is a stereotype of like a you can't sit with us mentality when trying to break into the fashion industry. In terms of taking risks, I mean, it's so cliche, but you just need to go for it. Like, you only have one life. I think for me, when I started my career, I started at magazines. So I worked at Teen Vogue and I worked at InStyle. And eventually I started, you know, the wheels started turning. I kind of want to be my own boss. I kind of want to build my own brand. But how could I do that? Where do I go from here? But it got to a point one day where I was just like, it's now or never kind of thing. Like, if I want to go back to my, you know, full-time jobs or a full-time job at some fashion company. Like, this isn't the end. It's not like I'm cut off from all companies and I can never go back. But I didn't want to live with the like what if voice in the back of my head, kind of being like, you know, you never took that risk. Like, you don't know what could have happened. You don't know what could have been. And personally for me, I mean, I know you're just talking about like starting like TikTok and Instagram careers and stuff like that. Like, there's no better time like the present. Like, you have nothing to lose, kind of, especially if you're in college and like you are still in college, like go for it. Like, now is the time. Like, I wish I had, you know, been even more active and started my social media presence while in college. And then in terms of, I mean, the industry not being very friendly, I wanted to shout out Monica, who's also on the panel. We have been like best friends probably since 2015 or 2016. Like, we were babies in the industry and we came up together, and you know, I'm like her biggest fan and I love her so much, and I'm so proud to like watch everything she's done, and you know, totally a fangirl over Monica as well as all of you. So with that being said, like, it's just so important to find like your friends in the industry and to find your people, because I never thought that I'd like make like a group of friends that also work in fashion. I mean, very all different things, but a lot of friends that do work in fashion, and we all support each other and we're there for each other and we like turn up for each other like when needed. If, you know, like my book launch party, or like if someone's doing something, like they all come and they all support. So it really is like so special to do that. So don't get me wrong, there are some mean people out there. I've had experiences with unfriendly people, but then there are great and amazing and like beautiful souls out there. So you just need to find them, and they will like ride for you and support you nonstop, you know, 24/7. So you just need to find those people, and then when you're going to make a risk and take that jump, they'll be the first people like supporting you, rooting you on, and cheering for you and sharing all of your stuff for you. So it's really important to find a good support system.
Love it. So you're gonna be able to like give us advice for sure, because like you grew up in a small town, and Gainesville is like a tiny city. The fashion, beauty, just like the creative scene in general is like almost non-existent. So like when you were growing up, like in your small town, how did you motivate yourself to like chase after your dream and like just like follow your dreams, like move to New York and like become like the biggest girl boss we know?
I mean, I kind of knew I wanted to work in fashion since I was younger, and so then from there I read like every fashion magazine every single month, and I would watch every fashion movie, and you know, read all the fashion books, and it was kind of like thinking about this like life of grandeur and like this like what could be kind of thought, and it was always kind of there, like this crazy dream, will it come true? And I don't know, it was just that like dream and that like want and that desire that was in the pit of my stomach from like the time I was like 10, 12, 13. I like used to watch YouTube videos of fashion week shows, because they used to like, I mean, I'm sure they still do, but they used to put them on YouTube every season. And I can remember like watching Betsy Johnson's fashion show and being like, I need to work in this industry. This is everything. So I think, you know, advice for you girls watching this, girls and guys watching this who want to work in fashion, and you're, you know, maybe feeling a little bit stuck because you don't have like a fashion, you know, scene around you. I think try to like do your research, be as knowledgeable of what's going on. So like read the magazines, read the books, do the research. And then, I mean, try to tap in if there is any fashion scene in your town. I get like a lot of questions on TikTok from like younger girls who live, you know, in the middle of nowhere and want to work in fashion. If there is any kind of like small designer or cool like boutique or something like that that you could volunteer or intern for, any experience is great experience at this point, and like a learning experience. So maybe you can learn more about like the retail side of things or the design side of things. And then like similar to what Monica was saying before, like tap into those remote internships right now. Like everyone needs help right now. I feel like in like the beginning of quarantine, people were unsure, but now that we've kind of like reached fall, people I feel like are trying to get back into some kind of groove, and they're hiring interns and they want remote help. So tap into that as much as you can. And I don't know, like for me, like my drive was just like from within. Like I wanted this so bad, and I had some sort of like blind optimism looking back. Like I'm like, who was this girl? Like I just literally fearlessly was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna build a website. Like, there's no question. There was no doubt. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like so fearless. That's crazy. But I think it was that blind optimism and like that like fearless determination that did help me become so successful, because I didn't take no for an answer, and I just, you know, did whatever needed to be done to kind of like make it happen.
I love how you turned what's a lot of people may seem as a negative into a positive and turned that in your favor to an opportunity. Love it. All right. So, Monica, we have some exciting questions. We're going to talk about Pink first. So as a Pink, a Campus Rep alumna, what are some of the valuable connections and experiences that you learned from the Pink Campus Rep program that you took with you in the workplace, both when you were at headquarters for Pink and now headquarters at Sephora?
Yeah, I feel like it's almost synonymous with everything that like even Carolyn just talked about, and even a little bit of what Anna said too. It really just comes from like a work ethic that you get, you know. There were so many experiences I got within my internship at Pink and even other internships as well that kind of were like my foundation, you know. Once I was used to hustling, it's like once you're a hustler, you can't not be a hustler, you know. So it's like you always have that hunger instilled in you, and you always want to improve, and you always just like want to do better, do more, go bigger, you know. And I feel like that was something that like I really valued from my experiences that I had earlier in my career that I bring to my experiences today. So I think just like the hustle and determination and the foundation it set for me really just led me to where I am today, and I'm like forever grateful for that, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have experiences. And that all goes back to what I was saying before, even what Caroline just said too, like even the smallest experience, and it just really makes a difference, because then it like even on your resume it just shows that like you're somebody who just like goes and goes and goes and goes. Like I remember there was a point where like I was like, my resume is like 3 pages long, but I need to put it to like 1 page because that's more professional. But I was like just so proud of myself for how much I've done that it's like it's almost like a nice problem to have, where it's kind of like you have to like narrow down your experiences because you have so many. So yeah, I think overall I'm just really grateful for like the hustle that those like internships like really got me and gave me, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, to contrast with the hustle, we have a little self-care question for you.
Yes. So of course we stalked like all of your Instagrams and we saw all the travels pictures like Santorini, Egypt, like everywhere. It's so impressive. So how do you find time to like balance work and just like find time for yourself and like practice some self-care?
Yeah, I feel like it's my motivation, honestly, for everything that I do. And this is like a simple answer, but I just do it, you know, because it's almost like Ariana Grande. Like, it's just like, I want it, I got it, you know, like I work hard and then I play hard. Like, it's like, you know, and like everything I have, it's like I'm like self-made, you know. Obviously some people have support from their parents or other people. Like I really built everything that I have today by myself, for myself, and so I'm going to treat myself, you know. And that's kind of how I live my life. So, you know, if I want to just like go to Greece for a weekend, I'm just going to do it, you know. If I want to, you know, just like hop on this flight, you know, get this fancy dinner, I'm just going to do it. And I have no regrets, because it's like I know that I did this, you know. And I think that comes as just like a reward, you know. You can't just hustle and not reap the benefits. And I feel like that's what motivates me too, because I'm like, oh, okay, one day I'm in Greece, I'm like, all right, well, let me like work hard so that I could be in Italy the next weekend, you know. And I just do it, and it's so motivating, and I feel like that's what makes life exciting, you know. I think, of course, like I've been there where it's like I'm working really late till like 4 a.m, and I've done that, but it's not fair to yourself if you don't treat yourself. So yeah, I encourage everyone to just do it. But you know, I think it all just starts with working hard, and then part 2 is playing hard.
Oh my God, as you should, Helena, as you should.
It's so inspiring. Let's go to Bianca. So Glossier like came into the beauty industry, like disrupted everything, like, and became the cool girl staple because like everything is so natural and authentic. So what does it mean to you as an employee, and how do you live by it, by those values like every day?
Yeah, definitely. I think for a lot of the team members, what really drives us is, since we have this, I guess, like reputation of like the cool girl, it's kind of redefining what that really means. You know, if you ask me like in high school or middle school, I'd be like, well, the cool girl is the one who like has designer clothes and she has like this insane like bone structure and she's like wakes up like airbrushed, and like that was not me ever, still not me. Like in middle school, I was like in my Harry Potter phase, like I was never going to be the cool girl. And I think it's kind of redefining what it means to be cool, and we have that opportunity with our platform because there are a lot of people who, you know, identify with the brand and kind of want to follow our lead, I guess. It feels so weird to say that. But I, you know, maybe now the cool girl is someone who votes, you know, she's active in her community and she does what she wants. You know, if she's really into painting, she paints. If she wants to make pottery that looks like corgis, I don't know, she does that. You know, she does what she wants, and it doesn't have to be a she anymore. You know, it's so open, and it's about just I think a big, you know, mission I have for myself on the socials team and just, you know, working at the brand is kind of redefining what cool is. You know, even the term is like, so I feel so dated, just very like high school stereotype, but it's, you know, it's cool to be yourself, and it's, you know, embracing everyone's individuality instead of saying like, oh, well, cool girls wear this and cool girls do that and cool girls, you know, you have to follow this model, and that's like not true at all. And I think a really important thing I'm kind of learning too is to do that in myself and just, you know, be more authentic, and, you know, not, especially when I think if you know, for those who want to like go to New York, it's so easy to move to New York and be like, oh my God, like this is what everyone's wearing. This is where everyone's eating. This is what everyone's doing. Like I have to do this and follow this rule book. And you're just going to kind of like fall into like this like drone mentality. And it's hard to like kind of set yourself out of it, and something I'm still doing, but it's really important to just like embrace being an individual. And that's something I try to do and express like on socials, I guess, for work as well.
Totally. All right, well, last but not least, before we open it up to a couple of questions, we would absolutely love to live vicariously through you. What does a typical day at Glossier look like, and how has that changed since the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed. Like, I used to go to work in this like beautiful pink cave of an office, and it was like so pretty with like our kitchen and snacks and like all my coworkers who are just so like, you know, cool. And I mean, of course I use the word cool, but they're just very themselves, and, you know, there's so many different, you know, mindsets and ideas. And now I'm in my bedroom, my childhood bedroom in New Jersey. So it's definitely been a shift. I think, you know, work-wise, it stayed the same. A big thing obviously is with quarantine happening, TikTok has just, you know, I think Caroline knows that. I love TikToks, but, you know, TikTok has obviously skyrocketed as a platform. And so that's something we've had to learn. That's what I've been working on for months. So my day now is just waking up, consuming like hours of TikTok to see like audios and like things that, you know, are trending on there. Filming, I think yesterday, I like taped Glossier products to my nails for a TikTok that we're going to post soon. So it's different every day. And that's what I also love about socials, is that while you can plan something out, you know, I could plan socials out for the next 6 months based on like launches and things. Something could happen tomorrow and you have to react to it so immediately. It really keeps you on your toes. Yeah, so every day, while it kind of is a similar gist, it's also so different. You know, it's kind of weird because it's such a new career, social media, and my mom will come in my room and just see me like laying on my phone, scrolling on TikTok. And I'm like, no, I'm working. Like, I'm working. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm working. But yeah, I guess, I mean, it's obviously changed because I don't have my coworkers right next to me to ask like, hey, what do you think about this TikTok or this Instagram caption? But I'm getting used to it, and it's getting fun.
Amazing. Well, I love the dedication.
So we absolutely loved those answers. We're going to see if you guys want to drop some answers in the chat. We can read them out for you guys and get some answers for all the panelists, for your favorite panelists, whoever you'd like. And we got you guys. So you want to take it away?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do this one. Okay, so all of you guys mentioned the importance of having connection and experience. So how do you find remote internship? How do you network and just like build like reliable relationship with people?
And this is from Vanessa. So
yes.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Vanessa. To answer the question, I would say, like, I mean, I'm in like your boat. I'm a college student, just like trying to get my name out there and trying to work with people I love. Honestly, what I've found to be pretty successful for me, like getting internships and opportunities, is just like emailing people I love, people I want to work with, and be like, hey, I love everything you're doing. Do you need any help? And you know, these people are busy and like they're more than willing to kind of help you out and help themselves out as well. So just essentially just like pitching yourself, super basic. I used to send, you know, during the pandemic, I used to send emails all the time, be like, hey, oh my God, like I love everything you're doing. Can I help you with social media, or can I help you with the blog? And that's actually really funny because that's how I got connected with Caroline. And so I'm interning for her now. So yeah, just like kind of reach out to people you know, who inspire you and you'd want to be one day.
Wow.
Love.
You guys can also raise your hand if you want to, and we just like call your name, because like the chat section is getting kind of crazy. Okay, I see Ava is raising her hand. Go ahead.
I was wondering, like, how does it feel like to like be a campus rep for Pink?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, love that. Okay. So being a campus rep, I know that Monica can totally relate, has been such a rewarding experience because you have so many hats to put on. It's event planning, it's social media, it's managing a team, it's leadership. And so I am so thankful to be in this position, getting that hustle, like Monica said. So hopefully all those lessons can get me to where these amazing ladies are, because they're everything. So yeah. We'll keep on reading some from the comment section while if we see any more hands raised, we'll stop. So the next one is from Julia. You want to read it, Vic?
Yeah. So Julia is trying to start a career as a freelance writer, and she's asking if you guys have any tips.
I could jump in on this as a freelance writer. So, I mean, there's a lot I could tell you. I think kind of like what Anna was saying in terms of like reaching out, like try reaching out to editors and people you admire within the industry who, you know, are editors at places or editors at digital magazines, and try pitching them story ideas. I mean, especially right now, again, we're in quarantine, like people need content and people need fun and good, engaging, interesting content. So, you know, don't be afraid to just reach out with a pitch and with an idea you have for a story. I mean, I accept freelance submissions all the time for Making It in Manhattan. So, you know, just reach out and, you know, work on writing clips. Make sure you have some writing samples so that people can kind of like get a feel for your writing and know what kind of writer you are. But at the end of the day, just don't be afraid to reach out and pitch yourself to different publications or to editors. Maybe you find them on Instagram or TikTok and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to just like reach out to them and say, hey, are you looking for freelance writers? Would love to send you a few ideas. So it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. I think like jumping off that question too, and kind of going back to the other question, something that I did when I was in college, which might sound a little crazy, but I feel like it kind of increased my chances, is I feel like it's so easy or so hard to like pitch yourself, you know, to people, and then you're discouraged because you're like, oh, I emailed like 3 people yesterday, but I haven't heard anything back. Like every time I would like either pitch for an internship or an opportunity, I would always set like a goal for myself. I'd be like, you know what, I'm sending out 50 emails today. You know, I would increase my chances, because if you only send like 3 emails out a day, your chances are low. But if you send out 50 emails a day, you know, maybe you'll get like 10 responses back. So I would literally stay up for hours and like set like an imaginary number in my head. And then I would make sure that I met that goal every day. I was like, okay, if I want this job, or if I want an internship, you know, I'm going to send out 50 emails today, and I'm not going to stop until I get 50 contacts. And then that's kind of like how I would keep on doing it. And I honestly felt like my mental health was a little bit better too, because I know how hard it is to like kind of get rejected or feel that disappointment. But when you increase your chances, it's like you're going to get a response back from somebody. So I would also encourage you guys to do that as well.
I would also just throw in there, if there's not a role somewhere, that doesn't mean there's not a space for you. You know, there's a lot of space to create a role for yourself. You know, especially I went to school in New York, so all those internships are so competitive and it's so easy to get discouraged. You know, they have filters on their applications, a lot of them, and they might not even see your application sometimes, even if you're like amazingly qualified. So, you know, something I did is I would, oh my God, very dry air here in New Jersey. I would reach out to bloggers that I followed and say, hi, like, I love your content, especially, you know, I followed one, her name was Lindsay Silberman. She had just left Town and Country as an editor and she was starting her own blog. And I said, I followed you for a couple of years now, you know, I'm so excited to see you're starting a blog. You know, I know how much work it is, you know, would you like some help? And then not only that, but oh my God, I sent over a list of some, you know, blog post ideas I thought she could do, some hashtags that, like, you know, were puns of her names for like her Christmas giveaway that I noticed she did every year. And like, I was like, what if you called it Silver Bells instead? Because that was her last name. And I think she told me like, that's kind of what set me apart, besides the fact that I was the only one who reached out. You don't have a lot of competition for a role that you create for yourself, which I think is a really great way to get experience, you know, just invent, like, yeah, and shows, you know, when I explain that to, you know, when I'm applying for jobs or interviewing, they like are always impressed that, like, you know, I created a space where there wasn't one. And it shows that you actually like really wanted experience rather than just like, you know, I sent in my application and, you know, I just waited at home all day.
Yeah, let's set a goal for everyone watching. Like, everyone's just looking for an internship today. Like, please send like a few emails, like reach out to like people you're interested in, maybe like on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, like anywhere, and like let us know if it works.
Definitely. Okay, we have a hand raised. So Sophia M, do you want to take it away and ask your question?
Yes. So I'm currently a junior in high school, so it's like kind of early on. But what advice would you guys give like for a high school student to kind of like gain that experience and gain confidence? Because like I'm scared of others judging me, especially like I'm also from Miami, and like it's not like fashion is in, but not really in like the suburban area. So what's like a way to gain confidence and like experience in high school?
Caroline, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I could tell you, and I feel like I really talk to my high school community a lot on TikTok, because that honestly, when I joined TikTok, I didn't even realize like people in high school already like were so driven. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, so many high schoolers reaching out to me being like, I want to work in fashion. How do I break in? I mean, there's a lot I could tell you. Like, one piece of advice is try to get involved in like, you know, the fashion community in your town. So whether, as I said before, like a local boutique, a small designer, you know, it could be literally someone who you don't even think of. Like, I used to, there's like this woman who used to be like a big designer in Manhattan who like lived in my town, and I just like would go and like shadow her and like ask her for advice and stuff. So just like anything to gain experience. In terms of gaining confidence, that's like a great question. And it's not easy when you're in high school. I mean, in high school, I definitely wasn't confident. I wasn't like the person I am today. One, surround yourself with a good support system, because I think like having a good like core group of friends, or, you know, even family members, like my brother and sisters are my best friends, like having people who really like uplift you and inspire you. But also, I mean, I'm very big into like mantras, or like daily mantras that you say to yourself. So it might sound cliche, but going into your mirror, like putting on a really amazing outfit and just like talking to yourself in the mirror and saying like, I'm a badass, like I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, you know, all those things, like I can accomplish anything. It sounds like it might feel weird the first couple of times, but it really is a confidence booster. And I think the first step to like loving yourself and being confident is like self-love. You need to like fully love yourself before you can be confident and just like go out into the world and take on anything. So, you know, do a little like mirror talk to yourself daily, and reach out to some local like people in your community who are maybe in fashion, and see if you can get involved with them, are kind of like my two pieces of advice.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking to that on, you know, a little bit, for the original question, like I'm from South Florida area as well. So I 100% feel on like the whole fashion scene over there not being as vibrant. But in high school, something that I did that I think definitely helped was just kind of get involved with aspects that you could take with you to the industry. So I did yearbook my senior year of high school, and that's kind of where I found my passion of, you know, speaking to people and kind of highlighting these different voices, whether that's through photography or whether that's through writing. And that kind of, you know, brought everything to the table when I was working at Rowdy and kind of took my experiences there. So that was something that definitely helped me when I was, you know, a bit younger. But just speaking on to what Caroline said, really it does kind of just start with yourself first, and, you know, finding that confidence, especially in high school. The person who I was back then is like completely different, and I look at her and I just kind of, I'm like, I just wish you were happier. I wish you kind of believed in yourself more. And, you know, those mantras, and, you know, I've started doing yoga and like meditating in the morning. That has tremendously helped me. I love it. But, you know, small things like that really do just help build your confidence. And once you are kind of powerful and you feel like you can take over the world, you can do anything.
And also just like, don't let being from a small town like get you down at all, because I remember like I would go to Barnes and Noble and get like my British Vogue from 3 months ago, because that's how fast my Barnes and Noble was. It was so out of date, and I'd still be so excited to, you know, in the springtime reading what's going to trend for winter of last year. But, you know, now we have access to the internet, especially with everything being, you know, online, and you kind of you can be a part of, you know, what's going on in Paris, what's going on in New York, what's going on in London, just from, you know, spending your time on Instagram or just on anything online, which is a great opportunity. And just, you can kind of submerge yourself in that world and all the trends going on just from your phone anywhere in the world.
Okay, we have a next question from Samantha C. So I think it would be more for Bianca and Monica, but she's asking about building a portfolio and basically what type of projects should she pitch to brands like Sephora and Glossier? What do they want to see?
Yeah, I feel like B and Bianca could probably answer this. I'm trying to think of how to answer this question. I think it really, people want to see like consistency. They want to see that you have a passion for something. And I saw another question kind of come up too of like, well, what if I'm a political science major? Like, how can I still get into social? Well, it's kind of like, have you guys ever heard of like a side hustle? Like, you can still be a political science major and then on the side have like your social media internship. Like, you don't have to limit yourself, kind of like what Anna said, to a box. Like, you don't have to do one thing, you can do 10 things if you want. So it's just really making the time for that. But I feel like the best way to build your portfolio is really, you know, figure out what you want to do in social too. Social has so many different facets and there's so many different roles. Like, my team has like over 10 people on it. Like, we have somebody who does analytics, we have someone who does like social listening, we have all these different people, content creators. Like, there's so many different like roles just within social media. So it's like, you could be a numbers person and you can still be like, okay, I just want to work as a social media analyst and I do numbers all day. Or you could be someone who's a little bit more creative and who's like, I want to be a content creator, or what have you, you know? So it really is tapping into what you already love and then kind of like finding that and then fostering that like talent that you have to kind of build in your career. So yeah, I feel like consistency, showing a passion, and obviously just being a nice person kind of gets you far, not only at Sephora, but just like anywhere, you know? I feel like there is space for everybody. So I wouldn't say like at Sephora, anyone's limited to applying at Sephora because you have to be a certain way. Like, we accept everybody, you know, but I just think in general for like a social media career, it's just like fostering your talent and, you know, showing it and being confident in it. So yeah, but I'll pass it over to Bianca because I'd love to hear what she has to say too.
Right. It's so interesting seeing like Sephora, and it's like a big team. I have like 3 people on my team total. So it's wearing a lot of hats. But I think a big thing also is showing what differentiates you from someone else. Because like on a day that we're all on social media, we all essentially are social media creators in a way. You know, you create your presence, whether it's, you know, just showing what you like on your social channels. So it's kind of what sets you apart. I actually love this question because it ties in with like how I ended up at Glossier, because I applied there for an internship my sophomore year of college, immediately rejected. Like the next day I got the email in the inbox, like, so sorry, I didn't even think they read my application. I probably should ask if they actually even did. But I got kind of mad and I was like, how dare they? I did not deserve that internship at all. I think my only experience was like, I was a secretary at like this supermarket store and I expected them to give it to me. But I created an Instagram account that day called Glossier Sticker on a Lighter. And I started making Glossier memes, like really funny ones. And I'd Photoshop the products into like movie scenes and like pop culture scenes. and I ran it for about 2 years, and it grew pretty big. And then they actually reached out to me, and then they offered me a job through that. And I would talk to like all the employees there. So my first day, I actually knew so many people. So it's kind of showing that like, while the traditional route, I wouldn't have probably even gotten an interview. It was, what stood out to them was this original thing that I was doing to show both that I understand the products in the company, but also that I have a unique, different way of voicing the product, showing the products, and like, something different than what they were doing. It wasn't like, I wasn't taking a picture of the product like on a field of flowers, I was photoshopping it into like the Parent Trap, and things like that. And yeah, I think it's just about showing what's different from what they're already doing, and how it could be better for the company as a whole, and just showing your unique voice and your like what you love to do. I think you're always gonna like, there's something you're always gonna lean more towards. For me, it's like pop culture and like funny stuff, and showing that how you can apply it to there. So just having a unique voice, I guess, would be like the summary of it all.
Yeah, I feel like one last thing I have to say about this is someone always told me, like, and this is a cliche most of you guys have already heard probably, but like, don't sit at the table if you're not going to bring anything to it. So that's kind of how I position my resume too. It's like, even when I'm like building on my resume, I'm like, okay, what am I going to give this company? Like, why am I valuable? And I kind of always think through that lens of like, what can I bring to the table? And then I'm like, here you guys go. Here's a list of everything I could bring to the table. And that's kind of like what a resume is. It's not only just like what you've done, but it's also like what you've accomplished and what you can bring to the table. So I'd almost think of your resume not as something that's like intimidating, like jotting down everything you've done, but really like, here's like a list of everything I could bring to the table. And then I feel like that's what companies really appreciate and love, because they're like, wow, like this is what we're gonna get if we hire this person. So yeah, last note.
Love that last note. And kind of bouncing off Bianca's point of like making a role for yourself, finding that opportunity for yourself. Guys, like TikTok is such a huge opportunity right now. I can't even explain how many people have landed job roles from there. So definitely the idea is never too big. Go for it. And if you find an opportunity, definitely take it. I loved that story, Bianca. Well, last but not least, we're gonna end it off with this question since we're already on time to end at 11. So the last question is from Celeste.
Okay, so Celeste is asking, what are small practical things that we can do today, like if you want to build a career in managing social media?
Okay, I'll start. I would say just like kind of diversify your following and who you follow online. I'd say is really important. If you talk to me in high school, I probably followed like one kind of person essentially, and everyone would fall into that bucket. And so I was only getting one point of view of the world and one point of view of like style and culture, and it kind of limited my view. And I think now, especially when you're working on social media, that's going out to the entire world, it's so important to know what's happening, what's trending, what's being talked about in every kind of culture or style or just a bunch of different demographics. So I'd say follow every kind of person, every style, every culture, everything. Just make sure you are kind of getting a world's view as much as you can. And I mean, I hate to say, because I'm also a big believer in like staying off your phone as much as you can for someone who works in social media, which is virtually impossible. But just kind of stay on it a healthy amount and just keep an eye on like what's, what people are liking, what's trending. If you see something another company does, maybe, don't copy it. That's so bad. But like, look into the inspiration and see, oh, I like how they added humor to this, or I like how they, made this a little more editorial. Like I could do something like that, and just keeping an eye out and just like recognize trends and like realize what you like, save stuff that you like. I'm horrible at giving advice, but yeah, just stay on social media, I guess, which is good and bad advice at the same time.
It was actually great advice. Like I didn't think about like following different kind of person, because like when you were talking, I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I follow like only fashion bloggers basically. So I'm gonna go on Instagram and do that in the afternoon. Okay, well, that was the last question.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, guys. You all like huge source of inspiration, and we all like inspired to like be you one day.
Yeah, so literally, again, like I cannot explain it enough. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you to the panelists. They are literally absolute queens. They crushed it. We can't thank them enough. If you guys want to follow them, shameless plug, They're all tagged in all of our posts. So you can go ask them questions, connect on LinkedIn. You guys already know the drill. But again, thank you so much for coming with us and spending your morning with us. We cannot appreciate it any more than we do right now. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you for having us. This was so fun.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your
Bye,
day.
guys.
Bye, everyone.